980 WCAP, Lowell, Haverhill, Lawrence, Methuen, Nashua, and Salem, New Hampshire, serving the Merrimack Valley.
To life, l'chaim, 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 to life. Is to the father I've tried to be.
Is to my pride to be.
Bring l'chaim to life, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, to life. Life has a way of confusing us,
Blessing and bruising us.
Bring l'chaim to life.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. Welcome to L'chaim here on 980 WCAP. Thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. I'm Jim Shainker, your host. Crystal Johnson on the other side of the glass, pushing the buttons, answering the phones, keeping us sounding amazing as she does every week. Good morning, Crystal.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking. All right. Do we have a guest yet, Crystal? We do. All right. So we're going to bring in our guest. We are so happy that they can join us today. I don't know their pronouns, so I will use they. Susan Block, also known as Dr. Susan Block, and Dr. Suzy is an American sex therapist, author, filmmaker, cable TV, talk show host, and cultural commentator. She is perhaps best known for her television specials on HBO. She is the founder and director. It says this on her website, so I'll use she, is the founder and director of the Dr. Susan Block Institute for Erotic Arts and Science. She is also a frequent guest on Active Radio, heard here Saturday mornings on 980 WCAP. Dr. Suzy, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Shalom.
Shalom.
And I want to compliment you, first of all.
Thank you.
On the name of your show. L'chaim, one of the great toasts in the history of drinking.
It is.
It is to life.
It's almost like salute, but for Jews.
Better. It's Eros is life, and, you know, I love Eros as opposed to Thanatos, death. And it's about sharing life and a drink and a conversation, which is, I guess, what we're going to do.
There you go. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I should bring the listeners up. You were on Active Radio not long ago. And now this is according to, so I'm not making this up, this is according to, I guess, a newsletter that you put out. And it indicated that during Active Radio, I text in to Active Radio to criticize the support of Palestine that you made on Active Radio, asserting that Israel is at war with Hamas, not Palestine, and you called that the standard Zionist Hasbara. So tell
Correct.
me why you believe that the state of Israel is at war with the Palestinian people.
Well, okay, so first of all, I want to introduce myself in terms of my Jewish background.
Please.
Because, after all, my website doesn't exactly flaunt it, although you can find many articles on my website about my Jewish background. And, yes, I was born in Philly, attended Har Zion Hebrew School, bat mitzvahed, also confirmed, spent summers at Camp Ramah, which is a very Zionist camp in a way, and went to Israel with Ramah, climbed Mount Sinai, worked on a kibbutz, taught Hebrew Sunday school at Hillel. When I went to Yale, graduated from Yale, my first boyfriend became a Lubavitcher rabbi. I got married in Har Zion Temple with two rabbis presiding, Rabbi Kane and Rabbi Wolpe. And as a sexologist, I have hosted popular TV shows in Israel.
Very famous rabbi, Rabbi Wolpe.
Absolutely. He was my rabbi.
Wow.
And I have had many interesting Purim spiels and Hanukkah parties. And I also spoke at Shabtai during Sex Week at Yale, which I helped another Jewish Yaley, Eric Rubenstein, to found. And now we're going to segue into our topic, because I was very sorry to see Shabtai have Itamar Ben-Gvir as a speaker, because I do feel, as a Jew and as a human being, that he is one of the world's most notorious war criminals with more blood on his hands than Lady Macbeth. So now we go into our topic. So to me, Israel versus Hamas doesn't make sense in terms of countries, because Hamas is a movement. It's a party that governs Gaza. Gaza is the country. Palestine is kind of the greater country. Israel is a country. So if you're going to say Hamas, it would be Likud against Hamas, which kind of makes sense since Netanyahu's Likud party pretty much created and supported Hamas for years. So when I say I support Palestine, I do not say I support Hamas. I don't support Hamas. I don't support Hamas, and I also don't support Netanyahu. And to me, there could be peace. Among my many other things that haven't been mentioned yet is I'm very pro-bonobo. I support the bonobo apes as a cause because they're highly endangered. They're our closest genetic cousins as humans. And I also feel that they show us a path to peace. They are the make love, not war chimpanzees. And most great apes, like humans, are very violent and kill each other. Bonobos have never been seen killing each other in the wild or captivity. And even though it seems so hard to envision a life, a world without murder, mayhem, and war, I feel bonobos can show us the way, and I feel we can find that way, and I'm here to go that way.
Okay, so let's just try to focus it more on the Middle East, but I appreciate the comments that you made with regard to bonobos. So the Palestinian people did not invade the state of Israel. The Palestinian people did not rape Israeli women. They did not behead Israelis, and they are still not holding captives in Gaza. Hamas is. Hamas, as you said, is the ruling authority in Gaza right now. So explain to me, as a sovereign nation, the state of Israel, in its attempts to continually free the people that are held captors in Gaza, are at war with Hamas. In my mind, the Palestinian people are caught in the middle because they elected a terrorist organization, a brutal terrorist organization, to rule them.
Well, that's a lot of collateral damage if really Israel is only at war with Hamas, because I'm not sure of the figure, but hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are being murdered.
Based on the numbers that Hamas is putting out, yes.
And starved.
Based on the numbers.
Why are they being starved?
I'll tell you
exactly
why
are they
why
being murdered? Why are they being bombed if it's really just a war with Hamas? Why aren't Hamas leaders being very specifically targeted? And why are their whole families being blown up? Why are their whole communities being blown up?
I will answer those questions if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right. The reason that they're being starved is because all of the relief food, all of the relief aid that went into Gaza was stolen by Hamas. It never got to the people. It never got to the people. Israel has now cut off aid because all that the aid does is support the activities of Hamas. The people will not benefit from it, number one. Number two, why are Palestinians being killed? Because the Hamas terrorist group had tunnels under hospitals, had tunnels under mosques, had tunnels under the country, And in order to retaliate and try to eliminate Hamas, the Israelis had to bomb these structures in order to get to Hamas, in order to try to free the hostages that Hamas is holding. Yes, there's a lot of collateral damage, and no one feels as sorry about that, and no one has as much empathy for the Palestinian people as I do. But the problem is that Hamas has to be eradicated in order for the Palestinians to live freely. I welcome your comments.
Yeah, well, I do disagree with you. I mean, I appreciate that you have empathy as an individual for the Palestinians, but I don't know that a lot of Zionists do. A crowd of Zionist thugs in New York just the other night chased and attacked a pro-Palestinian Jewish girl. She was protesting Ben Gvir. And they even attacked a passerby because they thought she might be protesting Ben Gvir. I mean,
that's horrific. In the United States, that should not happen. Everyone in the United States should have the right to free speech without retaliation.
Well, thank you. I agree with you, and I feel that there's room in the great Jewish community for disagreement. There are many Jews that are against this war, that are against Netanyahu's regime, and against the rabid Zionist bombing of Gaza. And they just struck Syria this morning. And what's next? Of course, Lebanon. I mean, not even just next. It's happening right now. Israel is at war with all of its neighbors.
Why is it happening? Why is it happening specifically in Lebanon?
Well, it seems to me that the Zionist colonialist project is a very difficult, very bloody, very aggressive and unwanted endeavor when you're displacing the native peoples of a land.
Suzy, who's being displaced in Lebanon? Seriously, who's being displaced in Lebanon? The reason that Lebanon was attacked is because there were bombs dropped from Lebanon by Hezbollah into northern Israel. And Israel had to stop the bombings.
You know, I have
no colonialism
very mixed
going
feelings.
on in Lebanon.
I have a friend. I have an old friend from my days at Camp Ramah and Har Zion Hebrew School who lives in that area. And she's a Zionist. And so I feel for the Zionist cause, but I can't agree with it. I feel that it is hurting the Jews all over the world, in addition, of course, to killing Palestinians, which is much worse. But since this is a Jewish show with this wonderful name of L'chaim, I want to just drink to the great accomplishments of my fellow Jews like Albert Einstein and Sigmund Freud and the founder of sexology, Dr. Erwin Bloch.
I appreciate
that. And so many great Jews.
If you want to come on and talk about those things at another time.
Another time, but I just want to come back.
I want to keep you focused. And
say, this is embarrassing. This is a shonda for the Jews.
No, it is a shonda. It is not a shonda for the Jews. I want you to, there are shondas for the Jews.
The bombing of Palestine, the bombing and the starving of Gaza.
There is no Palestine, Suzy. Tell me the definition of Palestine.
Well, tell me the definition of Israel.
Israel is a state that was founded in 1948.
Tell me the definition of America.
It's
a name. It's a name. It's a feeling.
The definition of these things.
I can specifically say Gaza. Palestine is more of an idea and a movement. Oh, I use both. I support Palestine because I support people in Gaza as well as in the West Bank. To say Gaza and the West Bank is a lot of words. So I sometimes say Palestine.
I can respect that. But let me Let me ask you this question. You continually are using the word Zionistic regime and Zionistic colonials. How do you define Zionism?
Well, first of all, it's a Zionist Colonial Project, yes, but it's Netanyahu's regime. Some of the Zionist governments, they're not all like regimes. I guess I associate regime with authoritarian style of government.
Are you using the word Zionism and Israel the same as you will use Hamas and Palestine?
Not exactly, because I feel that, Zionism has been with Israel all the time, and there have been some sort of quote-unquote liberal governments in Israel. And some governments of Israel have really tried to, in a way, make peace, I guess, with their neighbors. And one head of one of those governments was assassinated for that. And yet there have been these right-wing governments. And I believe that Netanyahu's government that has lasted the longest has become the most right-wing. And now it is no holds barred. And of course there are right-wing governments, there are authoritarian regimes gaining power all over the world. And it's very dangerous.
You're right.
For everyone.
You're absolutely right. And I think there's a distinction there. A lot of people around the world, myself included, would not support the Netanyahu government. I do support the state of Israel. I do support its right to exist. I do support the Israeli people. I do support a lot of the things, most of the things that the state of Israel was founded on. But that doesn't mean I'm going to turn my back on them when they were attacked and by a terrorist organization. So I think we have to be careful when we say Zionism and we equate it with the state of Israel.
Well, Zionism is a part of the state of Israel. Listen, America was a colonial project. America was founded as a colonial project.
Right, but
and I'm an American, and I support the United States of America. I don't support our military endeavors, mostly, because they're mostly very aggressive and useless and destructive.
Did you support when the United States defended itself?
But I support when the United States defends itself. Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
All right. So,
I mean, maybe not, of course, but I do. I live here. I'm an American.
Right.
And I also support Israel's right to exist. However,
good.
I need to acknowledge its beginnings as a colonial project, just like I need to acknowledge America's beginnings as a colonial project, and therefore respect the Native Americans of this country, this land. I think they deserve more than respect. I'm not here to outline what they deserve, but in the land we call Israel, the land some people call Palestine, this land, these natives who can trace their ancestry back and their lands, they deserve respect. And besides, I grew up in a Judaism that was never prejudiced against anyone. I grew up hearing never again meant never again for anyone. And I think Judaism is a big tent that can fit people like me, people that might support Palestine, might be supportive of peace in this land, and yet we're Jewish, and we don't deny we're Jewish. And I'm not a self-hating Jew at all. A self-questioning Jew, maybe, but not self-hating. And by the way, happy season of self-love. It is the M month right now. I won't say the word because I don't know what kind of audience you have. But in any case, give yourself a hand and stop stealing land. I don't think the settlers...
Nobody's trying to steal land.
The settling project is bad. Okay.
Nobody's stealing land. Israel
the
is
settlers
defending
are.
itself. Israel is trying to get back its
stealing
hostages. Land. What land are they stealing? They're
stealing land all over the place. There's all kinds of documentaries about it that are out there. You know, I didn't know this when I was a kid learning about Israel, even visiting in Camp Ramah, the land without people, for people without land. And then I went there and I said, well, who are all these people? Who are all these people? And they said, oh, well, those are Bedouins. Oh, well, those are Arabs.
The Bedouins are living fine in Israel. There are Arabs that are living fine in Israel.
I met a Palestinian
Those
man
people
when I
are
was
people
in
that
Jerusalem.
came from Nazi Germany because they had no homeland and because they had no place to go because no other country would take them.
I understand. I have family and friends whose grandparents and great-grandparents came from Nazi Germany and from pogroms in Russia and from all kinds of anti-Semitism. And, of course, I want to fight anti-Semitism. And my support for the people of Gaza is part of my desire to fight anti-Semitism because I think that Netanyahu and his aggressive, destructive regime is creating anti-Semitism around the world where there wasn't any. I didn't grow up with so much anti-Semitism. I grew up with a lot of sympathy for Jewish people all around me, from Gentiles, from all kinds of people. Yes, every once in a while I'd get called a name, but hardly at all. I didn't get protests against the Jewish people in front of my face. Now, of course, there's lots of protests. And you know why? Because right in front of our face are the victims of bombs that have dropped by Netanyahu's regime, which was voted in by the Israeli people. People among whom I count dear, dear friends. But then again, I count dear friends who voted for Trump. So
but you're dismissing, in my opinion, the fact that there were also plenty of pictures on the news of Hamas going into Israel, going into kibbutzim, and just dragging people out and killing them and raping them or taking them hostages. And that's as unfortunate as what's happening in Gaza right now. And Israel
all I can say is that was one day, and two wrongs don't make a right, and that was a wrong that I don't know how many people are killed, but not that many. And one thing we're finding is that a lot of those cars all over that Nova Festival that were burned up were probably done by Israeli friendly fire, IDF that didn't know what they were shooting. There was a lot of confusion on that day. Yes, of course, Hamas was horribly wrong for doing that. Mostly it took hostages. A lot of the reports of babies being burned were total hasbara, and actually babies are being burned in Gaza.
You know, Suzy, I have to wrap it up. I've got another guest coming on, but you're welcome back anytime. I appreciate it. Let's end it as this. I think for some reason your viewpoints are slanted, as are mine. As are my viewpoints. I have a particular way that I'm looking at the situation. You have a particular way that you're looking at the situation. I respect yours. I appreciate your respecting mine. And if we ever meet, we'll hug and kiss. And like you said, we're all Jews under one umbrella, and that's why we have the opportunity to have these respectful discussions.
Well, I am holding up my coffee. It's not Israeli wine, but l'chaim.
It's Manischewitz?
Okay.
Anyway,
thank you for having me on your show and inviting me to express my views.
All right. We'll have you on another time. It's wonderful to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, my friends, that was Dr. Suzy. We appreciate her coming on. She's also known as Dr. Susan Block. She's an American sex therapist, author, filmmaker, cable TV talk show host, frequent guest on active radio here on 980 WCAP. We thank her for joining us here on L'chaim on 980 WCAP. I also want to remind everybody that our text line is open, and we did get a text while Dr. Suzy was on from our colleague who does the afternoon show here and who does active radio, Hartley Pleshaw, who says, "Good morning, Dr. Suzy and Jim. Great show." Thank you, Hartley. I apologize for not reading that while Dr. Suzy was on, but we were engaged in some debate, and I didn't see it, quite frankly. All right.
To life, l'chaim.
L'chaim,
To life is to the father of try to be.
is to my pride to be.
Bring l'chaim to life, l'chaim. L'chaim to life. Life has a way of confusing us.
Blessing and bruising us.
Bring l'chaim to life.
980 WCAP, Lowell, Haverhill, Lawrence, Methuen, Nashua, and Salem, New Hampshire, serving the Merrimack Valley.